idea is that the snare is just like our wire snares that we set up earlier. However, the spring pole is going to be an action that will keep the animal contained and somewhat elevated. So as it fights to remove itself from that snare, the spring pole will be pulling back on it just through its natural bend. And what I'm looking to do is create it out of a piece of willow like this. And a couple things I need to do is set this up in reference to a game trail, some sort of indication that critters are in and around that area, moving through that area. I'm looking for a decent spring. How I do that is by removing some of these leaves. The leaves are creating resistance just like an arrow. So I'll take some of these off, break some, just strip the leaves. You can get a good little pull. Because unlike you see in cartoons growing up as a kid, the idea is not to flip this guy up and have him suspend. Now it's totally possible, but that's not the objective. The objective is just to keep him immobile by keeping him suspended and a level of tension applied to the actual capture. So you can see the difference by taking off some branches. You reduce a lot of that airflow. You have that paracord. Give me the blue. Blue paracord. I've seen it all.
Donny's favorite.
So let's work a couple different ways. So this is the majority of my spring pole. And what I'm looking to do is find the spot on the ground where it's going to connect, which is pretty much right down in here, like this. And then I'm going to tie a real quick piece around it. I want to go above the branches. Maybe you could avoid cutting it, even though it's blue. Alright, now I've got my spring action. Just like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a toggle. Ooh, this is some nice hard ground that should be interesting to pound into. And I'm kind of keeping this in line, so I see how my bend is here. My cord is coming straight down. I'm going to create a toggle, and the toggle is going to be part of a trigger mechanism that I will finish a little bit later on. This is what's going to release my spring pole. So that's going to sit just like that. Bend this guy down. What I have here is a little 7 stick. What I want to do is be able to pin this toggle underneath so it acts like a lever. So what I'm looking to do is pound this guy into the ground without breaking it. So
okay.
That's a hard secure. A few more for good measure. My toggle. I throw it up underneath there, just like this. Cool. Check both sides. So what's happening is, whoop, the spring pole, as you just saw, is wanting to be pulled up. All right, it's natural. Pull is up. My toggle is a release, and my 7 stick is holding it in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another mechanism, which is the bait stick, because this is a baited trap. This is where I'm targeting a specific critter, like a raccoon or something that's going to feed in this area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a real simple trigger mechanism, which is basically just a release. That release is going to allow my toggle to lever up and capture said name critter. Make sure it's good to go. All right. Good, good. Pieces. So this action right here makes the lever, excuse me, this whole entire system want to fly up. What I've done is I've now stopped it. By that little bait stick, I've created the ability to put this entire system at rest. And that's what the key difference in having a snare along a game trail where an animal just walks into it, to having this be an action where it's now resting. The only thing that's going to make it go off is a secondary action, which is caused by the animal. Now, how this takes place is, let me get that blue stuff. Here it is. So the blue stuff is actually really smart when you're trying to do this and give demos and whatnot. Is I'm going to tie a little loop knot at least attempt to again. Nice and tight. Trim off the pigtail. Chain it. And then this is going to be the noose that's actually going to capture around that animal. How this works is pretty simple. I'm going to give myself a decent sized loop, because animals feed in a couple different ways. So animals will, now imagine there's a fish head right here on this bait mechanism. Animals will walk directly up to it, and they'll put their snout right to the piece of bait and eat it, or they will reach in with their hands and pull it towards them. Like a possum or a raccoon, they feed by hands to snout, and like a rabbit feeds snout right to that actual source. A bird will peck. You could take a bunch of berries and line this entire thing full of berries and put berries right there, so when it pecks, it pops out the trigger. And what I'm looking to do is create a loop that will sit right over the top. Just like this. So when said name animal that I'm targeting, let's say a raccoon, comes up and through here, he's going to put his body, his paws, his entire upper torso into this little loop area and hit that trigger. What I need to do now is cut a piece of this and now secure it to the back end of my toggle, or I'll secure it to the back end of this rope. Just the rope would be easier. Now I'll put this guy back underneath, engage my trigger, and I can set this up very, very, you know, hair-like. Take my loop, put it right over, just like this. Make sure it's nice and neat. Now, when said name animal comes in, let's say it's for, let's say a raccoon, he comes in and he grabs his bait, he will now have himself caught in this loop, and as he's pulling, trying to run away, this guy is holding him in place. I'm also setting this up possibly an eye shot of my camp, so as I see this branch moving, that's an indication I've got something in it. So again, the idea is not to take the Wile E. Coyote and throw him through the air. The idea is to have a mechanism that holds the animal in place. If we can do that, that gives us time to come over and finish it off with a club, a rock, a stone, an arrow. So again, it's set up, just a little pull of whatever bait, and up it goes. It's that simple.